All right, so Paul Heyman was on the Pat McAfee show this week, and he was talking about the upcoming Royal Rumble pay-per-view and Roman Reigns. And Paul does such a good job at just being a promoter and maintaining his image as like a wrestling manager, but at the same time just also being like a real person having the conversation. Because obviously these guys are playing a character, and the outcomes of these events are planned and plotted and strategized, but there's still a realness to wrestling that shouldn't be overlooked. And I feel like Paul Heyman does a good job at getting you interested in wrestling and in the Royal Rumble, even if you don't feel that wrestling is the same type of sport as like a football or a basketball.
Because it is the most unpredictable event of the year. And I don't just mean in WWE or in sports or entertainment or sports entertainment. You just don't know what's going to happen. And here's the most exciting part about it. We don't know what's going to happen because there's so many variables when you have potentially 30 people in the ring at the same time. Now, the likelihood of all 30 being in there by the time the 30th man or woman comes out is small. With that many hands and feet running around the ring, things can go wrong. And as Vince McMahon used to say, what can possibly go wrong on live television?
And something else that he says during this interview that was interesting was that everyone in the wrestling world thinks they know what's going to happen. There's reporters who drop leaks about who's going to win this match and what the WWE is planning on doing with a specific wrestler over the next few months. But the reality is nobody really knows. There's a handful of people that are involved in making the final decision for a match, and sometimes the wrestlers don't even know the outcome until the day of the match. And when it comes to something like the Royal Rumble, there's like 3 guys that are more than likely going to win this match, but you have no idea which one it's going to be, and it's still very possible that the WWE can do something completely unexpected and have the storyline go in a way different direction. And that's the fun of the WWE and wrestling. This is why we watch, because of the mix between fantasy and reality, the mix between it being a sport and it being scripted, and I felt like Paul Heyman did a good job explaining that during the interview.
Probably 20 superstars can change the trajectory of their entire career. 10 normally, big names, Hall of Famers, legends come back, but there's a group, 20 or so, that can change everything for their family and for their future.
Where an unknown can become a legend in one move. It's where someone, can you imagine the publicity of someone who throws someone who is right now, I would say, a favorite to win is CM Punk. So what happens if some unknown, someone from NXT, someone that comes in from out of the blue, someone that comes in from another promotion, someone that hasn't been around in years, throws CM Punk over the top rope, or Cody Rhodes over the top rope? Well, what happens if a surprise comes in and you go, my God, this is the surprise that's going to win, and go on to WrestleMania against Roman Reigns or against Seth Rollins, and that surprise gets dumped over the top rope. Gunther gets thrown over the top rope. Now, if it's by CM Punk or Cody Rhodes, I understand that. But what if it's by an unknown? What if it's by someone you've never seen before? What if it's by a returning legend? What if it's from someone who comes in from another promotion? And all of a sudden you have Gunther breathing down someone's neck.
And finally, at the end of the interview, Pat asked Paul about The Rock being on First Take and saying that Roman was the greatest wrestler of all time and he should have his own Mount Rushmore in the wrestling world. And Paul agreed with him and said the same thing, that Roman Reigns is the greatest wrestler of all time.
It's just, he's untouchable.
Why?
Roman Reigns is the greatest of all time and deserves his own Mount Rushmore. Because in the modern era, no one can hold the title this long. It's impossible. The system is not designed for that to happen. He doesn't want a champion for 4 years straight. They just don't. It's too dominant. It's too much of this and to focus on one talent. What happens if that talent says, well, my contract's coming up and I can't be beat and this is what I want? You have to give it to him because he's unbeatable, because he's the man. He's the tribal chief.
Well,
so nobody is supposed to become that powerful within WWE anymore. The system's just not designed for it. And Roman Reigns has bucked against the system and has maintained that level of dominance at the very top, where no one else is even in his stratosphere, let alone in his league.
And I'm curious how you guys feel about this, because I honestly don't know. I feel like the longer this streak goes on, the more I like Roman Reigns and the more I enjoy playing into his character. Like, there's a part of me that actually would love to see Roman Reigns face Cody at Mania and beat him again, just so I can have the moment of where I throw my finger up to the sky and acknowledge the tribal chief. So yeah, it's fun to hate Roman because he's a villain, but it's also fun to act like he's the greatest person to ever exist and we're all privileged to be in his presence. And I kind of go back and forth between the two types of emotions with him. But let me know what you guys think. Is Punk winning this Royal Rumble match, and is Roman Reigns the greatest wrestler of all time? Make sure to go check out the other stuff on the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.